Hello, welcome back to Feast at Home. I'm Miss Jordan, and today I'm going to show you how to make turnip friend fries. That's right, you heard me. I said friend fries, not French fries. What's the difference? Well, French fries are made with just potatoes, and sometimes you use sweet potatoes to make fries. But when you make friend fries, you give the potatoes some friends so that they taste better. You can use carrots or beets or sweet potatoes or whatever you have in your kitchen. I'm going to use turnips and potatoes because that's what I harvested from the garden and have on hand. Let's look at the recipe and see how to transform these yummy veggies into delicious friend fries. Here's our recipe for turnip friend fries. On the ingredient side, we're going to need between 3 and 5 pounds of turnips and potatoes. Next, we will need between 1 and 2 tablespoons of oil. You can use olive oil or grapeseed oil, which is my favorite for cooking anything using really hot, high heat. Then we will need 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and half a teaspoon of pepper. I'm encouraging you to try some new spices today. Cumin and paprika will make these turnip friend fries taste super yummy. But maybe you want to try something different or leave them out, and that's okay too.
And now for the directions. Number 1, preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 2, wash turnips and potatoes, then slice into long, thin strips. Number 3, in a bowl, combine veggies, oil, salt, and spices. Number 4, spread evenly on a pan. Number 5, roast for 20 to 30 minutes until soft and crispy. Stir every 10 minutes. Number 6, remove from oven. Number 7, serve and enjoy! Before you start cooking, wash your hands. Before you start cooking, wash your hands. Rub the soap in between your fingers so they're clean. Before you start cooking, wash your hands. Before you start cooking, wash your veggies. Before you start cooking, wash your veggies. Make sure you scrub them all really well before you start cooking. Wash your veggies.
Gotta remember to turn up the heat to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. A turnip and a potato are root vegetables, just like carrots are. See these greens? The greens grow above the ground, and the root part grows under the ground. A turnip is ready to be harvested when you can see the top part peeking out of the dirt. Many people like to eat turnip greens. These ones are really small, but certain varieties of turnips are grown for their leaves, which are eaten just like collard greens. Today we're going to be using a knife to cut our vegetables. Make sure there's a grown-up nearby who's helping you and supervising. All right, so when we're cutting or chopping, it's really important that you keep your eyeballs on your knife and on your vegetable, and that you hold it steady with one hand. So when you hold a veggie steady, you use a claw hand. I showed you that last week with our broccoli. A claw hand has straight up and down fingers so that as you're chopping, you don't risk chopping your fingers. So I'm going to hold my turnip steady and I'm going to cut off the tail. Then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to cut off the tip. And those parts are going into the compost bowl. Now I've got a round veggie. It's a lot harder to cut a round vegetable. So the first thing I always do is I cut it in half long ways. Every cut we do today will be long ways, not short ways, because we want fries. Now when we cut a vegetable long ways, we hold it with a C, and you hold it and make a tunnel. So see how I have a tunnel here? The knife then is going to go between my fingers and I'm going to carefully chop my vegetable in half. Then I can turn it on the flat sides and it's a lot easier. I'm going to keep using my C-shaped tunnel to cut my veggies. So see, I'm going to hold it like this and cut it in half again. Now it's getting thinner, so it's going to be harder. Always check and make sure you are on the biggest flat spot before you keep going. Now I'm going to turn this piece on its flat side And I want them thinner, so I'm going to cut it in half one more time. And now I've got turnip fries. Same thing on this side. If you feel nervous and you're afraid to cut it because it's wobbly, just don't cut it anymore. It's cut enough. Now I'm going to show you how to do it with a potato. Potato is basically the same, except you don't usually have to cut off the ends. And when you cut it in half, you hold it the same way. So C shape, and then cut with a tunnel. Now with a knife and a really hard, dense vegetable, sometimes you have to put just the tip in and go a little ways in, and then go slowly and move it down. You're not always able to do the whole thing at once. And just like our broccoli, we want our pieces to be about the same size so that they cook evenly. Always go slow. You don't have to be a master chef right away. It takes practice to build those skills. Look at how different they are. These potatoes are yellow, and these turnips are white on the inside and purple on the outside. They're so neat. Ooh, I want to show you something cool. So potatoes have eyes, but they can't see out of their eyes like we see out of our eyes. Their eyes grow little sprouts. And if you wanted to plant potatoes, you could take one that has little sprouts and cut them so that each piece has one or two eyes or sprouts, and then plant them deep in the dirt. But you should wait until it's warmer to do that. I never plant potatoes before St. Patrick's Day, which is in March. All right, now I'm going to cut the rest of my potatoes.
I gotta take the tail off of the turnip. Gotta turn up the beat, turn up the beat, turn up that rad beat. But turn up the beat, turn up the beat, yeah, turn up the beat. Turn up the beat, turn up the beat.
Look at this amazing bowl of turnips and potatoes. They're so beautiful. Now it's time to add the oil and the seasonings so they can go in the oven and get cooking. We're gonna need our handy dandy measuring spoons. I know we've talked about these fraction spoons a whole lot. Here we're going to need our tablespoon, the big one. Fill it up 2 times. 1, 2. Then wipe it out. And next comes the seasonings. I'm going to need 1 teaspoon of each of the seasonings. That's the whole teaspoon. I'm going to open up my paprika. You want to open the whole thing up so that you can easily reach your spoon in. Uh-oh, it doesn't fit. So I'm just going to be really careful. And carefully tap, tap, tap-a-roo. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo. Yum. And then wipe it out and put that cap right back on. Same thing with the cumin. Take off the cap. Ooh, this one has a plastic lid. Most of the time you can pop those off. And my teaspoon fits this time. It already smells so good. Okay, and then we need a teaspoon of salt. Same thing, take off the cap. Fill up the spoon, sprinkle, sprinkle. Wipe off the spoon. Put the cap on. For the pepper, I'm going to use the 1/2 teaspoon. A little pepper goes a long way. All right, now it's time to stir.
Stir it up real slowly, stir it up. Stir it up real slowly, stir it up. Make sure you get all the veggies coated in the spices. You don't want to have a big bite that's full of all the peppers. So stir it up real slowly, stir it up. Stir it up real slowly, stir it up. I'm going to add the turnips and potatoes slowly because I know that they may not all fit, and I want them to be in a single layer. because, you guessed it, otherwise they won't be crispy. There's water inside of all these veggies, and if they're piled on top of each other, then all that water turns into steam, and that's what cooks the veggies instead of the oil. And they just get soft, which is fine if that's what you want. But I want crispy fries, so I'm going to spread them all nice and evenly.
All right, so they didn't all fit, which means I'm just gonna get another pan. If you only have one pan, just do it in batches like you would cookies. Cook this batch, and then when they're done, you can cook the second batch.
I've got 2 pans of turnip French fries ready to go in the ovens. And I've got my handy dandy oven mitts ready. To open the oven, and grab the pans, and put them in the oven. Gotta turn up the heat when you turn up the heat.
All right, we're gonna set a timer so that we make sure we don't burn our turnips. Don't burn the turnips.
Yeah. Turn up the timer for 10 minutes, then check your turnip friend fries. Whoa, 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 whoa. Time to check on our turnip friend fries with oven mitts, 2 mitts, for hands,
Someone pointed out to me last week that leaving the oven open when you stir your veggies actually loses heat from your oven and wastes energy. So this week, we're going to stir them on top of the stove. It's important to still stir your veggies around because it keeps them from sticking to the pan and helps them cook more evenly on all sides. But I don't want to leave them in a pile. Still want to spread them out before I put them back in. Oven mitts, Put the trays in different places, so they cook better.
Sayonara, see you in 5 more minutes. All right, here we have our turnip friend fries. Now, I have noticed that the ones in the silver pan are not quite done, but the ones in the black pan are. I wonder if the color of the pan affects or changes how long it takes to cook something. Like, does it cook better in a black pan for some reason than it would in a silver pan? I want you to think about that and see if you can come up with some guesses as to why that might be. Okay, so here we have our black panned veggies. They are nice and brown on the outside, and when I poke them, they're soft. That means they're ready. Now these ones, do you see how they're not quite brown and they're not quite crispy? They're also not quite as soft. So I'm going to put those ones back in. Now it is the best part, the eating part. Of course, I've got a little bowl. I put some ketchup and some turnip friend fries in it. Let's see how they taste. First, without the ketchup. The seasonings are perfecto. Now with the ketchup. Magical. I mean, it was amazing before, but the ketchup just like took it up a whole nother notch. Thank you for joining me for Feast at Home. I'm Miss Jordan. I hope you enjoy your turnip friend fries just as much as I have, and I will see you next week.